Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to From the Nosebleeds. I'm Joey Gunnar, joined today by Andrew Mason. Mason, how you feeling on this beautiful Friday morning?
I'm awake. I'm perpendicular to the ground, so that's I got that going for me.
Those two things, that's all you need, especially when we are about 29 hours out from the Broncos divisional round matchup against the Bills. The excitement in this town, you can feel it. I could not be more excited for this game. I mean, Mace, we are looking at something that we haven't seen in 10 years here in Denver tomorrow. Just how important is that for this community here? I mean, you could really feel the energy.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is the longest gap between home playoff games since the start of the Broncos franchise. I mean, when they opened the Broncos, there wasn't a playoff game until Christmas Eve of 1977. So it was the 18th season of Broncos football when they had a playoff game, and it was at home. And then since then, the longest gap between home playoff games is the nearly 10 years that was just completed. So it doesn't just feel like it has been a while. It actually has been a while. I mean, anyone watching this show, just think about how much life, how many things in your life have happened in the last 10 years. I mean, all I have to do is look at how many gray hairs I've got right down here that did not exist the last time that the Broncos had a home playoff game. So
Yeah.
I think that just gives you kind of the perspective on how long it's been. But hey, there are a lot of teams that wait a lot longer, but around here for the Broncos, a very successful franchise, it just seems like it's been a long time.
Yeah, it means a little bit more to us. And it's funny that trend's coming around right now. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere, but the 2016 trend where everybody's comparing how they look now back to 10 years ago. And the Broncos, they're just eating that up. I mean, what a great time to be a Broncos fan back in 2016 when they were going to a Super Bowl early in the year. And now we have that possibility maybe coming around once again. But this game has weight to it. Of course it does. It's a playoff game. Any game like this will have weight to it. But a little bit extra is added to it, especially with the way the Broncos went out last year. Of course, nobody really expected them to win against the Bills, but now they're playing that same team again, welcoming them to Denver this time. There is more of an expectation for the Broncos to win, and it doesn't feel like they, I don't know if they have to go out and win it. I still think that this season will be a success just from what they've done in the regular season, but the more I look at it, the more I really do believe that they need to capitalize on this incredible opportunity, which is getting the number one seed. Going to the playoffs, that happens for 7 teams in the AFC every year. The 1 seed, though, only happens to 2 teams in the NFL. The Broncos need to take this opportunity that they have with home field advantage throughout the playoffs, 2 home games up until the Super Bowl. Just run with what you have. You have such a great opportunity, a leg up over every other team in the NFL. If they can't pull out a win, it may be a bitter disappointment ending to the season.
Well, it's not just having the 1 seed, it's taking a look around the postseason and not seeing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think Vance Joseph said it on Wednesday. I mean, he talked about the other quarterbacks in the AFC, and he said, hey, he admitted that, for example, he wasn't rooting for Baltimore because when they played Pittsburgh, because Baltimore had Lamar Jackson, of course. Now, some of that may be him saying, hey, I'd kind of like to have that Baltimore Ravens job because I'd like to coach Lamar Jackson. But he rattled off Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes as the 4 big quarterbacks in the AFC. And, of course, Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Mahomes has taken the Chiefs to all the other Super Bowls since the 2019 season. And they're not in this playoff competition. Now, even though Buffalo doesn't have the number 1 seed, the Buffalo Bills are thinking the same thing, that, hey, it's a postseason without them. It's our opportunity as well. So it's not just the Broncos having the number 1 seed. it's looking around the AFC postseason landscape and not seeing more significantly Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but also not seeing the Bengals and Burrow once again, and also not seeing the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. So these teams, these quarterbacks that you expected to be dominating the landscape and chewing up playoff appearances, they're not there. I mean, on multiple levels, it's an opportunity that the Broncos need to capitalize on, because a chance like this simply may not happen again for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and I strangely feel like that is more valuable to Josh Allen and the Bills. Like, the number 1 seed may affect the Broncos more than, the Chiefs and the Ravens, because the Broncos haven't had the pain of having to play the Chiefs since 2019 in the playoffs. They haven't had to deal with those juggernauts who have ran the AFC for a long time. The Bills, on the other hand, that's been the thorn in their side. They have great regular seasons. They get into the playoffs, and then they end up running into Kansas City and can't pull it out. They can't win on the road. Josh Allen got his first ever road playoff win last weekend. So that might be instilling more of a mindset of winning into the Bills than the Broncos. The Broncos have the luxury of not having to ever play the Chiefs in the playoffs in their Patrick Mahomes era. So don't you think that might affect the Bills a little bit more than the Broncos?
I think no, it's not about affecting teams, Joey. I'm talking about what the opportunity is.
Just overall.
I think it has an equal impact in terms of what the opportunity is for the Broncos as it does the Bills.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. On like the base level, yeah. Those teams not being there, it's good for both teams. Yeah. Maybe just more mentality is where I was thinking. But
I think with the Bills, it's not just also the quarterbacks for the Bills. It's also the fact that this is their 7th consecutive playoff appearance too. Like this is something where they've gone time and time and time again, and they've never gotten past the conference championship game. Now, an interesting thing, Joey, that I was looking up with the Bills, their postseason losses over the previous 6 playoffs before this year, they've all come to teams that have had more experience with deeper runs than them. Like for example, they lose to Houston in 2019 while Houston had a playoff run the previous year. And they lose to the Chiefs in the 2020 season while Kansas City had gone to the Super Bowl and won it the previous year. And they lose to Cincinnati in 2022, and the Bengals, the previous year had gone to the Super Bowl. So you look, and then the other years, the Bills are losing to the Chiefs, and you see what the Chiefs have done. So every one of the Bills' losses has come to a team that has had more recent success in the postseason than they have. So they haven't lost to a team like the Broncos that is a relative recent newcomer and hasn't had postseason success. Like they played a team, Jacksonville, last week that has not been a recent postseason regular, and they beat them. So this is another thing for the Broncos. If they beat the Bills on Saturday, the Bills in this run with Josh Allen have not lost a playoff game to a team like the Broncos. Now, of course, the games have been at home for them until the Jacksonville game last week, but they haven't, with Josh Allen, lost a playoff game to a team like the Broncos that has been relatively inexperienced in terms of recent postseason play. So that's, I think, a little bit of an interesting thing here. Now, postseason experience, that's one of the things that Sean Payton says is a postseason myth. Ironically, though, he also says that home field advantage and the advantage of a bye week is a postseason myth, which I find fascinating because these were two things that he pointed to and made specifically goals of his team throughout the season. And now we get to the divisional round and his team hosting a game, and he says, well, that's a postseason myth. And I'm like, really? But you set these things as goals all season, Sean. What's going on here? Now it's a myth? Now you're reversing it on us? Come on, man.
If that doesn't sum up the Sean Payton experience, I don't know what does.
I can't deal with the inconsistency here.
Yeah, no, I mean, you just gotta learn at some point. That's just Sean Payton. Sean Payton's gonna Payton. That's just how he is. But
yeah,
moving forward into the game, what do you think stands out as some of the keys to success for the Broncos? What will lead them to a greater success percentage, if you will? I know the running game is something that they'll really need to key in on. Other than that, though, there's going to be a lot of different facets of this game that the Broncos will need to play their top tier ball at.
Well, running game, and also in terms of when their offense is on the field, you'll see a lot of zone coverage from Buffalo. Obviously, the Broncos face more zone than anybody else in the NFL, and a lot of that is opponents looking at what Bo Nix is against zone coverage, that he's, in terms of his statistical performance, one of the less effective quarterbacks against zone coverage. And of course, Sean McDermott, likes to disguise a lot of his coverage, likes to mix up his zones, that kind of thing. So what sort of zones is he looking at? Are they going to be similar coverages to what the Broncos saw, for example, against the Chiefs and against the Raiders? Are they going to be zones that concede a lot of short underneath stuff and give the Broncos 4, 5, 6-yard passes underneath, and then they have the chance to get together these long 12, 13, 14 play drives that require play-to-play precision, but also give them the chance to extend drives. And so on the one hand, requiring precision over and over and over again, that puts a stress on you. But on the other hand, what it does, it can give you an opportunity to keep Josh Allen and Buffalo off the field and then put this game on radically different terms than last year, because one of the big things in Buffalo last January was the Broncos offense could not stay on the field after that first series, with the exception of the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half. And thus the Broncos offense going 3 and out, or on the one drive when they had the fake punt, not staying on the field very long after the fake punt. Those quick drives were forcing the defense back on the field when it was barely able to catch its breath. And then Buffalo was able to respond with being able to chew the clock and have long drives. Buffalo's offense still has the ability to have those long drives, and success for the Broncos D may be red zone stops, kind of like what we saw against Green Bay last month. But the fact that the Denver offense has shown an ability to take what's given to them when opponents provide those soft zones and concede underneath stuff, and have those long 7 or 8 minute drives, that's something the Broncos weren't able to do in Buffalo last year, whether it's short passes or whether it's getting the run game going against a Buffalo's Bills run defense that's 31st in EPA per play against the run, 31st in rush DVOA. The opportunities, Joey, are going to be there for the Broncos to have lengthy drives that could potentially keep Josh Allen fidgeting over there on the Buffalo sideline. And if the Broncos can do that, maybe this becomes a game where it's only about 7, 8 possessions for each team. And if Denver can maximize those possessions in much the same way they did against Green Bay, where they're getting touchdowns, and then Denver's defense, best in the league in the red zone, holds Buffalo to field goals, you've got yourself a dub at the end of the day.
And that's what we're all hoping for. I just want to get, I've gotten everybody's that's joined the show this week. I want to get your score prediction. Final one of the week. Andrew Mason, give your score prediction for this game tomorrow.
24-23. And so 23 right there tells you 3 field goals for the Bills. The Broncos hold the Bills in the red zone to more field goals than touchdowns. The Broncos more efficient on their chances when they get the ball. Denver does what it's been doing all year long, comes through in the clutch, ekes out another white knuckler, and advances to the AFC Championship game.
I love it. You're painting a picture in my head, and it's a beautiful picture. It's a beautiful painting. I love it. That's the second 1-point win we've gotten on this show for the Broncos. Will Peterson gave a 1-point win yesterday. I'm going to go. I've thought about it all week. 27-24. The thing is, I'm not going to tell you which team's winning.
Oh, come on. That's a cop-out, Joey.
I will go Broncos.
Okay,
I do think,
okay.
I think for a long time it's going to be a 24-24. And really why I said I couldn't tell you which team's going to win is which team's going to get the ball last and kick that game-winning field goal. And I really hope that it's the Broncos. This Mario's got a 21-28. There is one comment I wanted to put up here real quick, Mace. Just you might know it. They say what unis we are in tomorrow. Do we know what uniforms the Broncos are wearing tomorrow?
Well, here's the thing. By league regulations, if the Broncos, unless the league gave the Broncos a waiver, you can't wear an alternate jersey or a throwback. So, unfortunately, you wouldn't see throwbacks in this game, and you wouldn't see Navy jerseys. So the Broncos, the Bills have already said they're wearing white with blue pants. So the Broncos, so expect the Broncos to be in orange. Garrett Bowles said back on Tuesday, he said white pants. So if he's to be believed, it would be orange pants or orange jerseys, white pants, and then it's a question of the socks. If the Broncos just kind of keep it simple and basic and kind of go with the base uniform, I would think blue helmets, orange pants, orange jerseys, white pants, blue socks, which has actually been the last couple of years a pretty successful uniform. And I think probably in terms of their combinations is a good, solid base home uniform and actually kind of reflects a uniform at home that over the years in the postseason they've had a fair amount of success in.
Love it. The real question is, what jerseys everybody else wearing? Reply in our YouTube comments, our Facebook comments, and our Twitter comments. Let me know what jersey you're going to be wearing for the game. I got my throwback Shannon Sharp waiting on my bed right now.
He's going to be there tomorrow.
Will he?
Yes.
Will he? Okay, well then there we go. That's good luck that I'm trying to instill. Let Shannon Sharp know that I'm wearing his jersey tomorrow. We're rooting for the Broncos to win. All right, Mason, thank you so much for joining. I will see you next Friday, and I will see everybody else next Tuesday. We got a day off on Martin Luther King Day, but we'll be back next Tuesday talking about the Broncos. Hopefully we're talking about getting prepared for the Patriots or the Texans, not locker room cleanup. Keep our fingers crossed for that. But I will see you guys all then. Until then, y'all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. Bye, y'all.